Nick. Talking to AJ after the game, he was asked about his emotions now that you start this sort of ramp up for the Super Bowl. Curious if you learned anything or one or two things from that first experience that maybe you can impart to the guys that are going to go through this for the first time.
Yeah, I think there's obviously different things that go into the week. You have 2 weeks to prepare, right? You have media obligations when you get there, and the game is a little different as far as the breaks that are taken in the game. And so I think at the end of the day, it does come back to what we've talked about all year, just controlling what you can control and being in the moment of where you are. And I think when that is what you're conscious of and you're focused on through an entire year, it serves you well and going into this. So it's gonna have to be the same stuff, just under some different circumstances as far as the way the game and the week are lead up to it.
We'll go to Jeff and then Brooks.
Are you changing anything specifically, Nick, based off the experience of the first time?
Yeah, obviously you go through everything, and I won't get into details there, Jeff, of what we're changing, but you go through after each week, you talk about what you can do better and what you did well. That's a constant every Monday, and that's what we did after 2022 as well. So we have notes that we're going through and that we've been going through, couple tweaks here and there. Of what we'll do differently, a couple things that will stay the same. But of course, like anytime you go through any situation like that, you take notes like that, and you try to get better from each circumstance you go through.
We'll go to Brooks and then Ed.
Hey Nick, will Brandon Graham be available for the Super Bowl?
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how that goes and how that plays out. And I can't answer that question right now, but we'll see how the week works out and the 2 weeks work out.
What are the main factors in that decision?
Yeah, we'll see.
We'll go to Ed and then Ruben.
Yeah, hi Nick. Just to go back to that tush push play in the championship game when the Commanders kept jumping off sides, players thought it was pretty funny. What was your reaction to that? And were you aware of the rule that existed that the official could award a touchdown?
I actually was. We had a coach that I was with that did game management with the Chargers, Smash, and I remember. I don't remember why we were talking about it, but I remember us talking about it. And hey, they can award a touchdown in a moment like this. You know what? I do remember why we were talking about it. We were talking about it with if you were on the one with not a lot of time left, the defensive back keep holding. Why not keep holding in that? Whatever it was, I won't. I don't remember quite. That's why I shouldn't even went into that. But yeah, I remember him telling me, if you do that enough times in a row, the referee can award him a touchdown. And I remember like saying the Smash, and I'm like, that's not a rule. Yeah, your mind. Like I remember saying that to him, like that's not a rule. And I remember him being very emphatic with me because he knows the rules really well, and telling me it was. And I texted him after the game. I'm like, Smash, you were right. And so we have talked about that since. So we did know that in that scenario because I remember saying, or I said to the referees on the side, hey, they keep doing this. It can be a touchdown, right? And they said, yeah, that's correct. So
did you think it was funny though? Did you get a kick out of what they were doing?
Did I think it was funny? No,
Yeah,
not really. Yeah, not particularly. I just wanted our guys to be, obviously always thinking about the safe and healthy health of our players.
Thank you.
We'll go to Ruben and then Dave.
Hey, Nick, we've talked so much this year about turnovers and takeaways. And the last 16 games since the bye week, you guys are plus 27, which is kind of a outrageous number. I guess the question is a two-part question. How pivotal is that to your overall kind of what you guys do and how you win? How important is it? And, you have 18 different guys that have takeaways, which is another crazy number. So like anybody on the team can force a turnover at any point. How valuable is that? It's not just 1, 2, 3 guys. It's really everybody.
Yeah. First, the players going out there and being able to do it is incredible because, you know, you're taking chances at times too of, because we've tackled well too. I think sometimes you see in those scenarios that teams take chances there, but they don't make tackles. Well, you know, we've been in the top 10 of you know, missed tackle percentage in the NFL, and which we take a lot of pride in. Again, goes back to our details. But the players when they go out there and execute that on the defensive side of the ball, that's easier said than done. And just really proud of them of how they've, you know, been able to tackle well while also taking the football away. It's something we emphasize an awful lot. You know, we've always done a good job of, you know, emphasizing it on offense. I think this year we've taken another step and really emphasize it even more so this year as a defense. You know, every team meeting we're looking at the ball security. Any mistake that's made in a ball security, every team meeting we're looking at good strip attempts or missed strip attempt opportunities. And you know, this year Pat Dolan, our video guy, got me every peanut punch that he forced a fumble with his entire career, and we watched that on a loop as coaches, and then we showed that to the players as well. But you know, so we emphasize the crap out of it because we know it's such a telling stat in this game. Our guys have done a nice job protecting it. Our defensive guys have done a nice job taking it away, as well as our special teams guys. You know, you saw Will get one, and you know, in the game as well. We drilled the heck out of it, but you know, you got to have talented players to be able to do both. You know, because it is a skill to be able to tackle and take the ball away. And I think the other thing it shows is the effort to the football. You know, we had our second man in with Zach Bond. You know, Coop had him tied up, and Zach was able to come in and get a hit on the ball on the one on Sunday. So just that shows you relentless effort by our guys of getting to the football. And we talk a lot about, you know, good things happen when you get to the ball, whether that be, you know, Zach going in and cleaning it up on Sunday, whether that be Grant Calcaterra being there behind the football on Dallas's fumble against Washington on that Thursday night. And it's just, you got guys that are in great shape to be, like, you can't be relentless effort unless you're in great shape. So it's just another notch to these guys of how good they have their bodies in shape, and the strength staff and the training staff just of getting those guys in shape, and the guys themselves just, you know, being relentless.
Thank you.
We'll go to Dave and then Martin.
And Nick, with how often you talk about facing adversity, what do you think you showed your team with dealing, you know, how you dealt with your adversity coming into this season?
Yeah, everything that I asked them to do, you know, it's like I think about, if I'm asking them to do something, I better be pretty darn good at it. Whether that's detail, whether that's mental toughness. They don't need to see me physically tough. I don't need to be that anymore. But mental toughness, whether that's connecting, those three pillars of our, you know, of our culture. That I better be doing those things like crazy. And so, I don't know. Hopefully, I provide a good example for them in moments like that. But I also hope that, you know, I provide a good example to them of blocking out the things that you can't control and the outside noise, because there's always going to be outside noise. And so, again, just try to be an example and lead by example. Like, words are, you know, culture words up on your culture is not words that are up on your wall, or, you know, or t-shirt that you wear. It's not what it is. It's your habits. And if I want our guys to have these habits, then I better have them myself, and our coaches better have them. And I guess I just try to live by that, Dave.
We'll go to Martin and then Bob.
Hey, Nick, you guys have like 8 new starters on defense compared to the team that you took to the Super Bowl 2 years ago. What does that say about, you know, the job you guys did drafting and bringing in guys? And also, like, you know, considering that, I assume it's tough to stay, you know, among the the elite teams in the league to be back in the Super Bowl with such a big turnover.
Yeah, I think there is, not unfortunately, fortunately, or however you want to look at it. there is a lot of turnover in this league, right? There's no team that's the same, year in, year out. There's free agency. There's, guys retire. There's just so many different things that play into it. There's salary cap, all those different things that play into it. Is that, that's what is special about each individual team, is that you're starting the journey again. And you have principles in place and all those different things, but you're starting the journey over and over again. And we do have, key members that have been here for the last 3 years. I've said how many times, I can't tell you how many times I've said how good a job Howie's done and getting these guys in here. And then it's about, building the team and building the habits and the guys continuing to get better. And I think that's what you've seen. And that's, with 8 new starters on defense, really good defense in 2022, a really good defense here in 2024. And so, so much credit to Howie and his staff, and then the guys themselves of going out there and playing their butts off.
We'll go to Bob and then Olivia.
Hey, Nick, you guys might have had one of the greatest bye weeks ever this year. Consider what you did afterwards. I think you said a few years ago, your first year, you asked Andy about how to handle bye weeks. What advice did you get then? You're 7-1 in buys now. He's 32-6. What advice did you get from him then? And how is the bye week, Super Bowl bye week, different than maybe the regular season bye week?
Yeah, obviously, I always will keep my conversations with other coaches, players, privately, but always so appreciative of any coach that is willing to help in scenarios and situations. I'm always so appreciative, and so many of these coaches have so much good knowledge to be able to share, and it just hopefully I can pay it forward to other coaches that ask me questions that I can help them with at some point. As far as the differences between a bye week here and a bye week, in the middle of the season, I think the one major difference, Bob, is that, in the season, you might not practice that week, right? The guys will be off. They have to have a certain amount of time off. This is a little different because you're going into a week next week. That's a little unusual, right? With some of the things. So you got to get a lot of the game plan done. You got to get practice in to practice against the stuff. But you also want to get guys rested and healthy and ready to go. So there are definitely differences. One, by the rules of it, and then two, just about what the following week looks like. So it's handled a little bit differently.
Go to Olivia, then Tim.
Hey, Nick, we talked to Cam in the locker room after the game. He said that he expects that he'll be great for the Super Bowl. We didn't get to talk to Landon. Between his just general toughness and the fact that you've got 2 weeks here to get ready for the Super Bowl, how confident are you that he will be good to go?
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I know that these guys, how tough these guys are, and do everything they can, and how hard they work, and all these guys are playing through, bumps and bruises right now, and I just see their relentless work and their relentless effort to get themselves in as best shape as they possibly can with their bodies to be ready to go. So time will tell, and we'll see as that goes. But I know that these guys are doing everything they can do. I can't tell you how much I respect what they go through and what they put their bodies through to play this game that we love. Just got so much respect for that, and just, toughness is a characteristic that I value so much, in life and in football. And we got a tough team, and these guys, the guys you're asking about, they're tough as heck, and and so that you can go a long way with that, with toughness.
Go to Tim and then Bo.
And Nick, I wanted to ask you about Jaylen's straitjacket comment after the game here. Just kind of your interpretation of that, and then also how much of what you're asking him to do, the way you're asking him to play the game this year, is factoring into the fact that it wasn't the most prolific passing season for him.
Yeah, I think he was having fun after the game. We've been winning a couple different ways this year. I think he's just having fun after the game. But I know this, and he said this plenty of times. He don't care how we win. I don't care how we win. as long as we win, and we do everything we can do to be able to win. And you know, as we've talked a lot, like there's been different circumstances of how games have went and where we've been at and late in games. And but we found a way to win and rattle off 15 out of 16. And so again, thought he was having fun with that after the game, and just loved how he went out and executed and prepared for this game. I always admire that. You guys have asked me about that. I always admire the heck out of him, of how hard he works regardless of the situation. Same guy every day. His mentality, his work ethic. And we had to win a different way this game, and we did, and we showed that we can win multiple ways. I think that shows the type of team we have and the type of selflessness we have on our team. Starting with Jaylen.
We have time for two more, so we'll go to Bo and then Zach.
Hey, Nick, I wanted to ask you a specific turnover question. They said on the broadcast that you emphasize that when guys are coming up from the ground, that's a good time to try to get the ball out. I want to know, how that came to be, when that became a particular focus.
Yeah, that's been a particular focus. I think you go back to 2020, and Zach Pascal had one in our Buffalo game of Indy versus Buffalo in the playoffs, and Zach was getting up with the football, and I think Micah Hyde ripped at it as he was getting up. The ball tends to be there's moments that the ball is at risk, and I don't want to get into everything that we teach there. I won't get into everything that we teach there when that ball's at risk. But one of the moments where the ball's at risk is you getting up off the ground, because and vice versa. Another time the ball's at risk when you're going to the ground, right? Because naturally your body as you get up tends to loosen up on that, and when you're going down, the same thing as you tend to brace. So those are things that we drill, create. Jamal Singleton has done an unbelievable job of finding creative ways to drill those two things, and so we drill the heck out of them. And just like the other ball security stuff, we also, if the guy misses a strip opportunity in a moment in practice where he's getting up and we don't take advantage of it, we talk about it. It also happened in our 2022 game against Washington with Quez Watkins. He caught a post from Jaylen. He was getting up off the ground, and the ball was at risk. And I think number 25, who's still playing over there, knocked the ball out. And so again, sometimes you don't have a wide, and if it happens during the league in a game during the league year, we'll show that as well. And so that's not one that's real common because it doesn't happen a ton. But you're sure excited when it happens. And I think Oren, right, and to be able to mentally think about that in the game that Oren did, the way Oren did, is pretty incredible. That he's got coverage responsibilities. He reacts. He sees Eckler going to the ground. He's going there. Eckler gets up and he's like, "Oh shoot, I'm going to punch here." And those are things that you can't do in the spur of the moment unless those are your habits. Like that's why the habits part is so critical. It's like we can talk about it all we want, but unless you're practicing that, unless you're emphasizing it, and after you practice it, then it's got to be part of who you are, because there's split second situations where these things happen. And so, I guess sometimes our best coaching points and our best things that we think about happen to you because of something negative that happened to you, right? Those are both situations. Now in the Buffalo Indy game, they called Zach down. I think we might have got away with one there. Quez definitely was a fumble, and it turned that a little bit. And so sometimes your scars of the things that you've went through help you become better. And I think that's just another way of our team, embracing adversity and trying to get better from each individual thing that we go through.
We'll end with Zach here.
Hey, good afternoon, Nick. What's the plan for this week as far as how much will you guys be on the field? Will all the game planning be in before you go to New Orleans? How are you handling logistical meetings? Kind of all the stuff that happens during the bye week.
Yeah. Yeah, we have a plan. We're still sorting through some other things of it, and so still, I mean, a big chunk of it is ready to go, and so won't share everything with you guys, but we'll practice. We'll be on the field. We'll be installing things to give you a percentage or a time. Still some of that stuff's up in the air, but you got to get a good portion of it done because of the schedule. Like I was saying to, I believe, Bob, the schedule's a little different next week. And there's some different things that you got to handle next week, and you might not have the all-day Tuesday meeting or an all-day Monday meeting because of media night that you would normally have as coaches. So won't get into percentages with you, but you got to get a lot done this week, and refine it, and make sure everything's on point the following week.
Thanks for the time, Coach.
Thanks, guys.